Okay, so Slick Glide Project 2025 here. This 2005 stunt bagger that we're putting together. We've got a whole bunch of parts prepped here. We've got the frame and chassis prepped, all the threads and holes chased and everything, and we're ready to start assembling the rolling chassis. So we're gonna start here with installing a level 4 Nowaski front end. We're gonna begin with, like I said, this was a 2005, so we're gonna begin with 49 millimeter conversion triple trees. This is a level 4 front end package. Everything you see here. So like if you order this level 4 front end from us, these fork tubes will come pre-assembled. So when you receive this, the legs, the tubes, the Nowaski cartridges, everything is already assembled for you, set up, spring preload is set up, the oil is in there, the whole nine, right? Whether you want radial brakes or axial brakes, it'll come with the mounts that you need. Again, the triple trees that you need, whether it's a conversion tree or for a newer bike. So when you go to put this on your bike, you simply put the triple trees on and slide the fork tubes or the fork assemblies in. Now, this particular front end, we're using the black Pro 1 Plus 2 fork tubes. So Pro 1 tubes come in all our level 4 kits. They're the best in my opinion. So again, we're using black plus 2 because this is Slick stunt bike, so we got to get it up in the air. And this is our radial brake mounts on here, and fender mounts are there as well. Will also come with the axle. But to start things off, we're gonna put the triple trees on the bike. As we move forward here, we'll slip the fork tube assemblies up in there and we'll just snug them down, and then it'll be on there, and then we'll get the wheel on, the axle in, we'll kind of get everything lined up. And we're not gonna do the final tightening of all this, because ultimately when the whole bike is assembled, we'll put it on the floor and we'll set the fall away on it once the handlebars are on it, wheels, fenders, brakes, and all of that. So just so everybody understands, it's all together and it's snug, but we'll go back through at the very end of the build and do that. So now we'll get the tubes in, right, Jake? Now we are going to put on a set of these raw billet original garage risers, and we are going to use these bushings here, which these are Alloy Art bushings on here, but these are the Good and Tight.
They are the Good and Tight, yes.
Alloy Art Good and Tight bushings. So Slick had some solid bushings here, but he's overruled. You don't want solid, I'm sorry. You gotta have something to dampen it. These Good and Tight ones are what we use. Even on our race bike, we didn't go solid, right?
No.
It just introduces too much vibration for the street.
Hands will be numb before you get a chance to enjoy your ride.
What we're gonna do is install a Dominator swing arm on here. While Jake was prepping the frame, I was doing the dirty work back there because I'm good at doing that kind of stuff, and cleaned up the transmission. And then Jake got a new gasket and that on the oil pan. So we have to put the transmission in to put the swing arm on. So the Dominator swing arm, this is available on our website as well. Really great product, multiple shock locations, mounting locations here, nice precision axle and wheel adjustment here. You have the spools on the back for the race stands. Comes with a axle, hollow axle and bolts. What I like about this swing arm as well is that it has this steel plate on the inside here, so the aluminum doesn't gall if you're changing wheels a lot. If you don't change wheels a lot, it doesn't matter, but like in a race application or like here for Slick when he's doing shows and burning off 3 tires a day or whatever, right? Changing a lot of wheels, this is gonna see a lot of tire changes, and that's gonna kind of protect that swing arm. And then this is a radial brake mount,
Good catch.
that I had designed many years ago, and we're gonna use that on here as well. So there's not many left, but Slick's gonna get one. So, yay Slick. So this is our lightweight fender mount kits. These are specifically for the Hoffman fender with our level 4 front end or our level 3 fork package or anything with Dominator forks. So these are actually 3D printed. Jake 3D prints these. And what we're doing here today is trying out a different set of bolts, because we want to provide bolts with them as well. Trying out a new set of black bolts. So that's what Jake's getting together. We had chrome bolts before, but we're trying to black it out. So there you have it. Rolling chassis, with the exception of the rear shocks. Rolling chassis.
And now we can put the handlebars on.
So we have a set of, these are ODI bars, right?
Yes, they are.
Heart Luck.
Pulled out his chrome 45, talked some shit and wound up dead. Now his wife and his kids are caught in the midst of all of his pain. You know, it crumbles that way at least.
Pete Nowaski here, Nowaski Extreme Performance. It's the beginning of day 2 on the Slick Glide build. So yesterday we got it in basically into a rolling chassis here. Got our level 4 front end on, got our Dominator swing arm on the rear, wheels, and that mounted up. So today we're gonna keep cranking away on it. I think Jake is gonna continue to work on the chassis and get that going together. And then I am gonna do some upgrades on the engine. So we're not gonna rebuild the whole engine. We're gonna let Slick continue to run the life out of the one that he had in there. And we'll plan for engine modifications in the future, because that engine is still strong. But we're gonna upgrade the cams and the oil pump in it, put some powder coated covers on it, ARP fasteners, and just kind of breathe a little new fresh life into it for the 25 season. Just wanted to stop and take a minute to talk about the transmission. So Jake just installed the 5-speed cassette from our buddy Harley over at 77 Cycles. So Harley's the guy, 77 Cycles is the place for transmissions. From a basic rebuild to a full performance transmission upgrade, he can help you out. He'll go through the transmission. I've been there and seen his facility and talked with him and about his process and what he does. But he'll tear your transmission apart. He'll either rebuild what you have or use new components, but he'll completely go through the transmission, shim it, check it, install billet door, whatever bearings you want, standard, ceramic, whatever. But from mild to wild, 77 Cycles can hook you up with a transmission. I know Two Slick has the same transmission in his Dyna, and we've installed a lot of these in other performance bikes and stunt bikes. and Harley stands behind his work as well. So call him for the details on what you want. He can talk about it better than me because he's the transmission specialist, but that's what we got going in here. So Slick's got a completely built, brand new billet door 5-speed transmission going in this bike. 77 cycles, check them out.
With the bourbon shed, it's a lonely view. Soft spoken with a broken jaw. Step outside, but not to brawl. And autumn sweet wind, call it fall. I'll make it to the moon if I have to crawl in. With the bourbon shed, it's a lonely view. With the bourbon shed, it's a lonely view.
I wanted to take a minute and talk about oil pump, cams, and cam plate. So S&S Cycle has been a go-to company for me for 20 years. They have great products. They've been in the industry for a long time. They know what they're doing. All of us here at Nowoski have a great relationship with everybody at S&S Cycle. When I was racing King of the Baggers, they helped me out so much. The R&D department helping develop components for my race team. They sponsored me, and they have great products. So anyway, for Slick's engine here, we didn't build this engine initially, but again, we're just making a few modifications to it here during this build process. To get them ready for this season, we're installing the S&S twin cam 3-stage oil pump. Now, I've been prepping all this stuff. Even though the parts are brand new, I go clean them all up, spray them down, clean them off, because you just never know what can happen. Inspect everything. I've pre-lubed everything and put it together. So the 3-stage oil pump, what I really like about the 3-stage oil pump is that there's the 3 stages, the feed, and then there's 2 returns. So typically your oil pump, your return side would scavenge from both the crankcase and the cam chest collectively to return to the oil reservoir. The 3-stage pump splits that up. So the scavenge, well, there's 2 rotors for scavenging. One scavenges from the crankcase, one scavenges from the cam chest. So in my eyes, that's more efficient, especially in extreme duty applications like racing or stunting or whatever. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time going into that, but we really like that 3-stage factor. Also, we use the S&S cam plate, and we can adjust the oil pressure here in the cam plate as well. I'm not going to talk a lot about the grind of the cam. I will say that this isn't the typical cam profile cam grind that we would use. However, this is a unique build in the fact that it's a stunt bike, and we're kind of trying something a little different with Slick's bike here. However, it is gear drive because the crankshaft is true and welded from the previous build. So we are running gear drive cams and compression release cams. So this engine had manual compression releases in it. It's not a super high compression motor, but again, in extreme duty, when things get hot and stuff, you want to have that compression release factor. So we're just going to plug off the manual compression releases, and again, we're utilizing the automatic compression releases, mechanical compression release cams from S&S Cycle. So we're going to go ahead. You've seen me prepping all this stuff. We're going to go ahead and put this together as we assemble this, because you'll see that as we install the oil pump and the cam plate and we start torquing everything down, we want to be rotating the crankshaft at the same time that we're torquing things, so everything is lined up properly and is moving free. So that's a really critical part of the process, is making sure that's all good for the efficiency of the oil pump and the engine. And the oil pump is the heart of the engine.
And make sure that the gears are aligned correctly with crank, so that way you're going in straight. As you can see, there's a little bit of friction. It forced into the O-ring that's in there at this point.
That I want to mention that too, that O-ring for the scavenge pickup of the oil pump, that's really important to make sure that that's in there properly. And I can't tell you how many bikes we've seen over the years where that's messed up, right?
Yep, and then it causes a scavenging issue. And
then you get excess oil in the crankcase and the motor bogs down and it doesn't make power. So we usually install that O-ring in the crankcase first, make sure it's lubed up well. And when Jake just put that in, you probably couldn't tell, but he was pushing and wiggling and feeling, and he's done it 10,000 times, but that's just important. I just want to mention that.
And then everything is obviously lubricated already, so that way when we put it all together, kind of flows and fits the way it should.
And there were 2 O-rings here that I installed. So yeah, I got to make sure that those are there as well. Gear drive cams, we put the block off plates where the oilers for the tensioners were.
So I'm putting Loctite on the actual cam chest bolts, or the cam plate bolts. The oil pump bolts, we're not going to put Loctite on due to the fact that we do not want Loctite getting in behind the cam plate and in between the oil pump, as that can cause some issues. So I'm going to get these finger tight before I put the oil pump bolts in. And with S&S, they're nice. They have everything numbered, so it tells you what your torque pattern is.
Do you ever put any like oil or assembly lube on them, or do you just make sure they don't gall? You feel it when it goes in?
I feel it when it goes in, so I don't go straight to the torque wrench. As you'll see here, I do everything finger tight. That being said, I do this all the time, so a little bit of oil is not going to hurt. Now once that's done, now Pete's going to start to rotate the engine. You'll see it rotating here. And as he rotates it, I'm going to torque the oil pump. This is aligning the gears in the oil pump. And at that point, we are done with the torque specs on the cam plate and oil pump.
We're ready to set the engine in the bike, and this is just a really cool moment. Day 6 here, yeah, we're trying to get her done. We're hustling. It's got to be done today. So you can tell I'm kind of in a hurry and trying to get back at it, and that's what we're going to do. So stay tuned. Just a few hours, you're going to see the finished product.